A very tough draw. We knew we were playing an excellent basketball team, and a team, quite frankly, that we didn't necessarily match up well with. We prepared hard, but we ran into a team that played well on a night where we didn't. They certainly had a lot to do with that. But it's difficult to exit the tournament the way we have because it doesn't shed light on a lot of the great moments, a lot of the things that especially these two guys have fought hard to establish on a season that represented 27 wins in a Pac-12 tournament and regular season championship. All that goes away when you lose in the tournament, but in particular, lose in the first round the way we did. It wasn't a lack of effort. Certainly wasn't a lack of wanting to advance. We got beat. We got beat by a good team, a well-coached team that was tough. And the second half, we didn't play well in the first half to be down 2. I think we felt like we had been in that situation many times, but they overwhelmed us in the second half. We struggled on offense and on defense, and clearly all credit to Buffalo. They did a great job.
Hey, Sean. DeAndre just now said that the biggest thing that he got out of this season was a real appreciation from you for how hard he had to play game in and game out. He said that he really didn't think he understood what that represented until he came there. Could you talk a little about where he was versus where he is in that regard?
Yes, DeAndre superseded any expectation that I could have ever had for him. He was an incredible teammate, worked hard every day, played for the win. The way our team is made up, and we've fought all year with this, when you play 2 7-footers, one of the 2 7-footers has to do some extraordinary things on defense. And that's part of when I saw Buffalo play, I knew it was going to be a tough draw for us because Harris is so good. And it's what they do every game. They exploit that matchup. But with DeAndre, as fine of a kid as we've had and an extraordinary player, hate to see him go out in the first round. It's not his fault, really. He had 14 and 13. I thought Buffalo really pressured us and took us out of some things, and negated some of the things that he's done all season long. But for anybody to not remember DeAndre as the greatest freshman to ever walk through Arizona, they weren't paying attention statistically, and just the type of kid he is. He's destined to go do some great things, and when you get someone like him, you want to go all the way, right? And when you lose in the first round, that's a tough pill to swallow. But he was fantastic. He's one of a kind.
DeAndre has looked superhuman at points this year, and I know you just mentioned that you knew it was going to be a tough draw because of how Buffalo plays, but were you surprised at how well they were able to slow him down?
Yes, even him, he might not have had his A game, but I thought their pressure just decimated us. It was 40-38 at the half. And kind of the way our team played this entire season, we've been more of a second-half group than a first half. And a lot of times in that first 4 minutes of the second half, we really get going. The opposite happened tonight, and that's to Buffalo's credit. The stat sheet is one that you don't oftentimes see, in that and they had 2 players have 20 made field goals. And, they were 15 of 30 from the three-point line. We were 2 for 18. Their guard play, their pressure defense, they really took it to us. The other thing is when Perkins can make a couple threes in addition to what they already have, especially against us, that means their 5 and their 4 are making threes. And UCLA gave us problems with that. That was one of our losses. And, the way they utilize their bigs, they're very difficult to defend, and yet at the same time, they play tremendous defense. They did a great job. They beat us hands down from start to finish.
Sean, 2 years ago, Wichita State kind of came out similarly to Buffalo. Besides losing in the first round, can you explain like maybe your emotions just going through the course of the season and what you're feeling right now?
This game feels a lot like Wichita. You know, Wichita, they had those guards, and they pressured us. They were physical, obviously an excellent team. I think Buffalo, excellent team, physical, pressured us, and you know, both of our first-round exits had that in common. You know, in terms of my emotions, I'm not going to change it. Taking things a day at a time. Obviously, this is a tough day, and we have to move forward. You know, my thoughts are more with our players right now. It's not easy to win the Pac-12 tournament, win the regular season, overcome a lot, get here to the tournament finally, and not play well and get beat like we got beat. But that's part of sports.
We have time for two more. We'll start back here.
Sean, along those lines, how would you think this season will be remembered in 2-3 years from now?
You know, I don't know. I don't know. I can only go on what we've done. We're 27-8. We made the tournament. We got beat by, I think, a really good team. We didn't play well. They had a lot to do with it. You know, let me just say this. We worked hard to be ready for the game. Our guys practiced hard. You know, when you go 3 games in 3 days in a conference tournament, you know, you're a little bit banged up. So we tried to be smart in our approach. But our intention was good. We just didn't have it tonight. And Buffalo deserves a lot of credit.
Last question right here.
Sean, there were long stretches tonight where DeAndre did not touch the ball, and it resembled, I know you weren't there, but I'm sure you watched it, when they lost at Oregon. He might be the best player in the country. How do you guys not get him the ball for some possessions?
Yeah, no, Buffalo did a great job. You know, they did. They pressured our guards. They took us out of a lot of things. You know, DeAndre in the first half had 0 offensive rebounds, so that was part of the story. Obviously, he came alive in the second half. He had 5 offensive rebounds, but we as a group didn't get him the ball. But it wasn't like we didn't know that. I think sometimes you have to give the defense and the other team credit. They were able to pressure us at a level that hasn't happened very often. And DeAndre's averaged 20 and 10, 20 and 11. I think in the last 2-3 weeks, he's probably closer to 26, 28 points, 15 rebounds. So we've established that we can get him the ball. Tonight, it wasn't as if we got away from him. It was that the other team did a great job. I'll use the analogy of a great wide receiver. If the pass rush and the blitzes and just continues to get to the quarterback, you know, that receiver is not going to get as many catches or opportunities. And tonight, in the basketball terms, their ball pressure taking us out of our ability to get him the ball, and it certainly played to their advantage, and they deserve a lot of credit.
He seemed really frustrated too toward the end that he missed so many shots.
He's frustrated because his career is ending. You know, he wanted to keep playing.
All right. We'd remind you that Arizona's locker room is open. See U of A's athletic media relations staff. Thank you, Coach.